Hey, you made it! Good. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our teepee. I have always loved teepees. Ever since I was a little kid, I've been fascinated with them, and my biggest dream was to have my very own Native American authentic teepee. So when me and Stephanie first bought the land here 6 years ago, we were camping out on the weekends. I was gone all week working on the road, and I'd come home late on Friday night. We'd pack up Caitlin and all of our stuff, and we'd head out here to the property, and we'd set up camp in the middle of the night, and we'd spend the night, and then we'd spend Saturday, Sunday, we'd pack everything up Sunday afternoon, and we'd head back to my parents' house, and I'd be gone Monday working on the road again. And Stephanie and I decided that we needed something a little more permanent, some kind of permanent structure we could leave here set up, and with our stuff and most of our gear already here, so we don't have to pack it back and forth all the time. So I finally got the excuse to buy a teepee. Of course I could make one and everything, but I didn't have the time. I was working on the road all the time. For years I had researched companies and looked into it, and we went with Nomadic Teepee Makers. They're a fantastic brand. They did the whole set for Dances with Wolves. They're very particular about trying to keep it authentic as far as the design and structure of the teepee. Of course, this teepee is made out of canvas and not buffalo hides. I could get that they would make a buffalo hide teepee for me, but we'd be looking at the neighborhood of like $10,000, and the weight is astronomical for a teepee this large. Right now, I'd like to share a couple of really interesting facts about teepees that you may not be aware of. All right, Autumn's here to join us and talk about the teepee. Do you like sleeping in teepees? You can talk, you know.
Yeah.
Do you like sleeping in teepees?
Yeah.
Yeah? What's your favorite thing about the teepee?
None of the goats can get us.
None of the goats can get you in here? Are you shy talking in front of the camera? No? Really? I am. A lot of people assume that a teepee is just the teepee poles and the cover wrapped around it and you sleep inside. And that's fine, you can do that. But if you want a really homey experience in your teepee, you want to set it up, you want it something you could live in, there's a lot more parts to a teepee. So we have a typical teepee, would have the teepee poles, the teepee cover, the liner on the inside, and a floor of some sort. There's cords that get wrapped around each of the poles at different heights. And there's a canvas liner that gets tied to those cords. So then you end up with an outside cover with an inside liner. The liner goes all the way to the ground and about halfway up the teepee poles, depending on how big your liner is. Some come up 6 feet, some 9 feet. It just depends on how the teepee's designed. This creates an air gap between the cover and the liner, which allows the smoke to draft properly. You would have a fire going in your lodge, creating hot air that would rise up through the lodge. As that hot air rose, it would draw cold air underneath the cover and rise up between the cover and the liner. And as it got to the top of the liner, it would help force that smoke up and out of the teepee. It also provides a tactical advantage. See, when the Native Americans were living in their lodges, at nighttime, if they had a fire going, if all they had was a cover on the lodge, their shadows would be silhouetted against the cover. And then an enemy who might be spying on the camp could look down at the camp and say, there's this many people in this lodge, there's that many people in that lodge. Or they could even shoot through the cover and hit a target inside because of the shadow cast on the cover. By putting up a liner inside the teepee, now the shadow of any individuals in the lodge are cast onto the liner and not the cover. And so it was a safety feature and a privacy aspect of your lodge was having this liner. It also provided some insulation. By having those two walls, it slowed down the flow of heat exchange between the inside nice warm air to the outside cold air. Another part of the teepee that makes it more like home is a floor. Native Americans would have used anything from mats woven from reeds and grasses to animal hides and even canvas once Europeans came. When the liner gets set up and the bottom edge of the liner is down on the ground, the floor goes down and overlaps the edges of the liner. And this seals off the bottom edge of the teepee and makes it more of an enclosed structure. It helps keep the bugs out. It helps keep rodents and varmints from getting inside your teepee. And it keeps drafts out, and so it makes it much more of a complete structure. Another thing that's interesting and is not common knowledge about teepees is that a teepee is not perfectly round. The footprint of the teepee is actually egg-shaped, and the front of the teepee tips back, and the back of the teepee sticks up straighter. The reason for this is because we have a fire in the lodge. That's the main heat source. And in order to get that smoke to vent properly, to draft up out of the lodge, the fire needs to be directly below the smoke flaps. The smoke flaps are located on the front wall of the teepee. So by tipping the front back, okay, and the back steeper, we bring those smoke flaps more to the center of the lodge. Sets them back a little bit. So our fire can be in the center of the lodge, and when you come in the door of the teepee, you're not facing right into the fire. You've got some space there to actually come in the lodge and make your way around the fire and sit down. This is a large teepee, larger than would typically be used by Native Americans. This teepee's footprint is 22 feet in diameter. That's a huge lodge. Native Americans didn't typically have lodges that big. Before they had horses, Native Americans only had dogs for transporting their goods and their shelters. It was either on their backs, they were dragging it, or their dogs were dragging it. So teepee poles were much shorter, loads were much smaller, and the typical teepee was probably 10 or 12 feet in diameter at the most, so maybe up to 14 feet if someone was really wealthy and had some big dogs to carry it. But as the Native Americans acquired horses and learned horsemanship, they were able to start transporting larger loads, heavier loads, and longer poles. And the teepee began to grow, and it developed into what we know of as a teepee today. Today, I'm going to take you along as we disassemble the teepee and set it back up again. And the reason we're doing this is because when I initially set up the teepee poles, okay, the first thing that goes up is a tripod of 3 poles that are lashed together. I didn't set the tripod up exactly the way it should be. The base is spread out a little too much. And what's happening is it's lowered the top of the tripod down just a little bit, being spread out farther, and the cover is sitting on the ground in 2 spots. And it wouldn't be a big deal if we were just gonna spend the weekend or maybe the week camped out in here, be no problem. But because I'm leaving this set up for an extended period of time, I wanna get it just right. So what we're gonna do is take the whole cover back off, we're gonna unstake it, unpin it, we're gonna pull the whole thing back, take it off, we're gonna take all the poles down except for the tripod, we're gonna take the tripod, we're gonna bring the bases in just a few inches each, okay, and that'll raise the apex of the tripod up a little bit higher, bringing the peak of the shelter up a little bit higher, so when we put our cover back on, we should be just where we want it, so that the edges are about 3 to 6 inches above the ground. What are you doing back there? You swinging on the rope? We got Tarzan back here hanging out with us. yeah, that's about it. So it took us maybe 40 minutes to take that down, set it back up. And the really cool thing is that a Native American woman or a couple of women could tear down the whole lodge and have it ready to go, all packed up, all the family belongings ready to go in about 20 minutes. In fact, an entire village could be packed up and ready to go within about 20 minutes. Loaded up, on the move. When we were setting up the teepee, when we were taking down the teepee and setting it back up in that time lapse, you may have noticed a particular sequence and how the poles came down and went back up. It's very important that this is followed so that the poles end up crossing at the correct places in the correct order, which makes a nice, neat series of poles up to the top there that the teepee wraps around. When I set the poles back up, I kept them clustered at the front and clustered at the back. The reason for this is that if we were to set them up just the way they were before we wrapped the rope around, it's likely that the poles could slip and slide and all come tumbling down because they don't fit right in a notch. Once these poles are up, if that rope's not there and you spread them out and set them right where they're supposed to be, the two last poles could actually slide down and then take out your little kid or your puppy dog or something like that. And you don't want that to happen. You set your poles up in kind of a cluster in the front, and then when you get the rope wrapped around the top 3 times, then you kind of spread your poles out a little bit. You still don't push them all the way out to the perimeter until your cover is on and staked out. Okay, that allows you to kind of manipulate the cover, it gives some slack, and then once you get it all staked out, okay, all pinned, we get it all laced up, all the pins in, and then all the stakes set around the perimeter, okay, now this is the last task. We've got to go along, take each of the poles, okay, that's not part of the tripod. We leave the tripod poles alone. The rest of the poles we kind of pick up a little bit, push out against the cover, and slide them back down to the ground to set them. Okay, and that makes the cover nice and tight like a drum head, and then it doesn't blow around in the wind, it sheds the rain and snow and the weather really well, and it just looks really good from the outside. You can watch me, I'm going to go around the teepee and I'm going to set some of these poles. Much happier with this. The cover all the way around is nice and high off the ground, just the way I like to see it. If you like this video on the teepee, you stay tuned and keep an eye out for new videos because I'm going to be making this teepee its own little character in these vlogs. This should be a lot of fun. Alright, we'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Hey, wait! Don't go! I forgot something, so hold on a second. That's better. Okay, see ya. Bye. Videos that... Why can I not talk? Ah! Oh, it's just a crow. I thought there was a hawk flying by.